Welcome back, listeners, to our Beyond the Road podcast, where we take Sunday's message further to reach our community, discipling one person at a time. Good morning, evening, and afternoon to all of our listeners. We hope that you guys are having a blessed day. This is episode 175 of our Beyond the Road podcast, and Nate has the sillies today.
He always does. He's like a used car salesman in New Jersey.
Oh, my gosh. I can see him just slapping his hand on the church. You know how many babies I can fit in this church?
You know what? You know what I watched the other day? And people are like, that movie's so corny, and I think it's hilarious.
What are you going to say? Bench warmers?
No, it's the, what's it called? It's Nate Bargatze's.
The new one.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about.
What it's called.
I don't remember.
He's in a movie?
Yeah, what's it called? Oh, Breadwinner. Yeah, the Breadwinner.
Yep.
Man, his SNL skit was really
It's so
good.
cheesy, and I love it.
Of course you do. Of course.
Yeah.
That tracks.
That tracks. It does.
That tracks.
Whatever. Very cool.
That tracks.
Yeah.
I haven't been.
So, communion.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Well, we didn't actually talk
Yeah.
about
Welcome
communion.
back, Nate. Actually,
I
welcome
was
back
gonna
to
say,
the
I wasn't here last
podcast.
week. I usually
Our
listen.
listeners were really grateful.
I usually listen to the podcast every week, and I didn't listen to yours last week. And it's because
Because you weren't on it.
Yeah, because I wasn't on it. Usually it's because I'm like mowing or something like that. But now that I don't have a home,
Oh yeah.
I don't get to mow anymore, so I don't listen to podcasts as much. And
Yeah. It was a short one. We only went for about 40 minutes, if I
Yeah.
remember
We
right.
speed
Dang.
ran that thing.
Yeah, 47
See how
minutes.
quick we go without Nate? Man.
Hey, we got some work done. I'm just saying.
you guys were boring, it sounds like.
boring. Well, we talked about it beforehand, and Tina's like, "No, I listen to it like when they're long, like it's great." And
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were like, "Oh, okay, good." So,
Actually, this is a great time. So if you were a viewer, if you've been viewing from the beginning, okay, I
Oh,
really
you're
want
a
to
listener.
know your input. Now, when I say beginning, I'm not talking about the early YouTube videos with me and Nate just facing the camera.
Oh my gosh, man,
that's
that
like
was the day.
OG.
I'm talking about since we've been posting these on Spotify
yeah,
and
since they've
YouTube.
been.
Yeah. Do you guys, as the viewers and listeners, do you prefer listening just audio only? So you getting some work done, right? Or do you actually sit down and watch the video?
There
really
are a number of
curious.
people that watch it.
I
There's actually people who have started listening because it's now in video format that have
Yeah.
told me that.
Man.
especially on YouTube.
Yeah, it's wild. Some people really prefer one or the other.
I can be, what was his name, McCain?
Okay, dude.
Talking about
John
the
McCain.
John
my goodness.
McCain.
You know,
That was so
because he
random.
could never get his
Was
thumbs
that the
up.
VP that shot Bush on accident when they were hunting?
Yeah, I think it is.
Remember it like it was like a hunting accident or something? Was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
something
yeah.
like
Hunting
that?
I
accident.
can't remember.
No, maybe he
Classic.
was the one that got hit with the bird
Yeah,
shot.
maybe he was.
Man,
Yeah.
wild.
It's funny because he could never raise, at the end of his life, he couldn't raise his arms above his shoulders, so he'd always give a thumbs up like this.
Wow. What an obscure patriotic fact.
Yeah.
And we're recording this on July 7th, so last
Dick
week was,
Cheney,
True.
you know, the
who
Oh,
accidentally
Dick
shot
Cheney.
fellow
That's
hunter Harry Whittington with
Ah.
birdshot during a quail hunt in
There you go.
2006.
2006.
So
How
not
do I
McCain.
remember that? I
I
was in
don't know.
middle school.
I was a child.
I was graduating college.
Marcus was barely even alive.
What year was he born?
He was born in December of 05,
I think
baby?
it was 05.
That brother was an infantile.
Oh my gosh. Still on that milk.
He was on diapers.
At least I had memory at that age.
I remember it. Yeah, I remember it. So when I was in middle school, I believe that was when I had to start taking I think it was a social studies class, but we did way more American history than anything else. And it was
Oh, wow.
Mr. Hennig, and he was
Hennig.
he was actually the Ontario basketball coach. I think for JV back then.
Your
Yeah.
coach.
I think now he's varsity.
Yeah.
Was
Your
not my
coach?
coach. No, I didn't play no basketball.
See, I'm telling you, people are probably watching it more because, I would do cool things like that. Or
Yeah.
I was going to wear my sunglasses just now, and he was
Yeah.
like, take them off.
Yeah.
Nate, we just want you to not look crusty. You know? Like, here's the thing. We want our lead pastor
Nate's crest?
to be
Yeah.
a professional.
Oh, I forgot we had that.
We
man.
want you to be a professional. You
Hey.
got to dress the part. You got to dress
for the
for the
audience.
job.
No.
Remember what we heard this
I
morning?
am.
We got to dress for the job we want. And we want war.
That was
Man.
hilarious.
Well, I just want to do a quick little shout out to the whole video portion of these podcasts is actually made possible because of a volunteer who's behind the scenes, Mr. Josh Langdon. So we want to thank you, Josh. Thank you for everything that you have done.
You can't hear it. You can't hear it, Josh, but we're applauding you.
Yeah.
That's long. Wow. That was, and okay, that was not applause. That was a really obnoxious button.
I actually hit it like 7 times. That was pretty good. I've been playing a lot more
Yeah.
Xbox, so I'm getting real
Really?
quick
Yeah.
with my.
You haven't invited me.
Well, I got to get warmed up before I can get to your level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
True
I
story.
haven't played Fortnite in like 3 months.
I am level 53 in Fortnite. Though.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
I'm level 0 probably. I haven't played in
Yeah.
quite a while.
Me and the girls played all weekend long. I actually had a phenomenal weekend. So last month we were in Colorado, had a great trip, and then right after Colorado, then Emma went on Generate Camp, and then right after that, it was fair judging. So like we had like a lot in the month of June, and so it was just go, 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 go. And so this past weekend, we skipped out on the festival. We didn't see any fireworks. We didn't do anything with family or anything. We
Wow.
literally had
This was
all
$250
You're just
all
lame.
3 days were just the 4 of us, just
playing
family.
video games.
Just the two.
We did a lot of
us.
video games, but we also did a lot of other things too. Girls
Nick
played some
and
board
Nate are
games.
sus.
We went
Just
to
the
a
two
couple
of us.
stores, but it was so nice just being with my kids and just chilling.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is. That's
Didn't
nice.
make any plans.
It's fire.
They had so much fun.
The old
Just
dad.
being home.
The
Yeah,
old dad.
exactly. And they still wanted to hang out with me
Nick's
and everything.
like,
so
yes.
it was.
They don't hate me.
It was a great weekend. Very
Nice.
very quiet.
They
Lots
don't
of
hate
rest.
me. Let's go.
It was good. It was
That's
good.
nice.
No, that's great. Yep. 250th, baby. Mansfield Speedway fireworks. Man, those were
250.
fire.
There ain't no way we're getting to 500.
Really?
I don't know if
Bad
we'll get to
chance.
3.
Well, there's no way
Dude,
I'm getting to
300 's
500.
like,
So, I mean, there's no way I'm getting to 500. So,
No.
I said that to our small group guys last night.
Jesus is gonna come back
I said-
anyway, so it
I was
doesn't
like-
really matter.
I was like, well, guys, I said, I'm not putting money in my 401k. I said, either way, we're screwed. Either Jesus is coming back or we ain't making it to 300 as a country. So, doesn't matter either way. My 401k, not happening.
It's so weird. We get such tunnel vision with like our little lives, and we think that everything matters so much. But if you really look at the scale, 250 years old as an entire country, we are not an old country. There are cemeteries in Europe that
Oh,
are
yeah.
older
Yeah.
than the United States of America is.
It was funny. I saw this on X that somebody posted. Like they took a picture of their Irish pub,
Oh yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, that's funny. America's 250 years old. This pub is 1,400 and something years old." And then then I saw a name under it. It's like, and thank goodness that pub isn't written in German. Thanks, America. Like, yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I thought that was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you might roast us for not being that old, but a lot of y'all wouldn't be as old as you are if we hadn't sent our boys over there to Normandy.
You know what? If
That's
you
right.
can, if you were to, and maybe somebody's done this, okay? If not, somebody's got to do this, okay? The age of the country, if you would mathematically correlate to the age of all of our generations that are here on Earth, you know, like what countries would be the boomer age, you know, how long they've been a country for.
Oh, yeah.
That means that America being young, 250, that would be like what, like the Gen Z or the Gen
We're
Alpha
the Gen Z country.
of the world.
Yeah,
Wow.
we are young.
I wonder how you'd classify that.
So somebody's got to figure
It's
it out.
been
I don't
truly
know.
fun watching so many people from all over the world that's been here for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And they're like, so the United States isn't anything like we're told back home.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
they're
we're
having
told back
great
home that
experiences. and
America
all-
sucks and it's the worst.
Yeah.
And then they're here and they're like, wow, this brisket's amazing. What
Yeah.
do you mean America sucks?
Yeah. And they're like, people are super friendly and like, it's just all media.
That or how big America is.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like you
Yeah,
can drive
America's big.
through, like if you're in like France, you drive 3 hours, you're in another country.
Yeah.
Here, you can drive 20 hours and you're only halfway across the U.S. You know?
Or halfway across Texas.
No
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
So
you need a full tank of gas in
yeah,
Texas.
it's like being in Babylon, you know? Those were the days.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, it is.
What a way to really transition there. Texas to Babylon.
I mean,
All right.
same difference.
You heard it here. Texas to Babylon.
I mean, America, Babylon, I don't know. There is a lot of correlations for sure.
right?
Yeah.
It just
Well, the FDA did just approve lab grown meat. So,
That's disgusting.
you know
are
what?
you for real?
Yeah. Just saw that. It's crazy.
It is absolutely
Yeah.
horrific.
I will
Yeah.
not be eating that.
Yeah. They're going to label it something funky.
Lab grown, probably with human stem cells too. That's why they pull your wisdom teeth. You guys in on that conspiracy?
I never.
Yo, human stem cells from
I'm
pulling your wisdom
serious.
teeth.
Literally.
This is insane. So you're saying that
100 years ago, they didn't yank out wisdom
so you're
teeth.
saying we're cannibals.
No.
Well, 100 years ago, you
I'm
lived till you were
telling you.
37 if you were lucky. So, I mean,
I'm saying.
at the same time,
I'm saying that they want our teeth
they want them.
because in our teeth,
They want all the
they
wisdom.
can get stem cells.
Oh.
Hang
And
on.
So they pull all of our teeth and say it's a medical whatever, and they just have them all. I don't know if it's in like a big pickle jar or something, but they got them all.
Wow. Okay. Well, real question. Did King Solomon get his wisdom teeth pulled?
He was too wise. I don't think so.
Probably not.
He had them boys ingrained in
I
there.
don't know.
Yep.
I'm just saying. And this whole 3 meals a day thing that was invented by a breakfast company, Kellogg's. You
Oh
know?
my gosh.
Dude, I'm
It was
telling
brilliant.
you,
Outta
this
here.
Colorado trip
That is
opened
not
my
true.
eyes.
That is not true. We literally have documentation from war history that they
Nah.
ate breakfast.
No, propaganda.
Kellogg's.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
well, it wasn't cereal.
How long
but
how long has Hobbiton been around?
Man, that's a good
Say
question.
you
Actually,
2 breakfasts a day.
so the ages in Tolkien's lore are actually
Oh,
thousands of years
jeez.
old. So I don't even know how to calculate that.
Breakfast has been around forever.
second breakfast.
Second breakfast.
Whatever. You guys all.
Doesn't know what to say now. Doesn't know what to say. He's shook. He shooketh.
I'm just saying.
He
saying.
shooketh.
They want your teeth and they want your kids.
Lab grown meat from
Yeah.
your wisdom teeth stem cells. You heard it here on the Beyond the Road podcast first. We're not going to talk about frogs.
Well, they're putting
Okay.
stuff in the water.
We're not.
Alex
Jeez.
Jones. I'm gonna get an Alex Jones shirt. You know,
Oh,
you wear
no,
all those
do
Billy Graham
not
shirts.
do
I'm gonna
that.
wear Alex Jones
Please
shirts.
don't. Please don't do that. Comes onto the podcast with an Alex Jones shirt. Oh no.
We should bring him on the podcast.
Oh, do you think he would?
Yeah.
Video him in on the TV.
I think he would.
Man,
Alex, hey, come on to our podcast.
Okay, this is a great question. If you guys could have one person, one famous person on this podcast, who would
Special
it be?
guest?
Yeah, who's still living, who's still relevant, like one person
On the podcast.
on this Beyond the Road podcast.
Jeez.
Maybe we can find a donor who can make it happen.
A donor of wisdom teeth.
They only took 3 of mine. I still got one.
I don't know.
I know. Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
We'd have to bleep some words, but what I'm saying is
we do have the button.
we would have the gospel ready to go and say, let's talk about this. And we'd be on this here for 3 hours. It'd be the greatest time of my life.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I'm assuming Christian, like a.
You can do.
I mean, because like
it's
I
just
guess
whoever
having
you
some
want.
rando on here would not be the most productive. Probably, I guess it'd be a different kind of podcast.
Mine would be. Man, who would mine be?
Like, man, if we could say dead, I would have really good answers.
I think Keanu Reeves.
Oh, why?
Why?
Yeah.
I just think that he has a lot to offer humanity. I think he's got some good ideas, and I think that if he had a
Humanity.
connection
I have
with
read
the
some
Lord,
of his. Yeah.
yeah, I think if he had a deep connection with the Lord, a lot of people would. I think he could propel something that an average pastor couldn't propel.
That's why I think Joe Rogan would be great.
so. They have to be alive.
I mean,
Man, that
realistically,
sucks. There's so many good ones that are dead.
That's true.
Billy G, Charles Spurgeon, Tolkien,
Mm-hmm.
How about Johnny Wesley?
N.T. Wright, John Wesley. No, I'm just kidding. He's all right.
what?
He's
Who
okay.
else?
I don't
like
agree with
John
him on
Wesley.
everything.
I
I don't
agree with
agree-
him way more than Charles Spurgeon.
I don't agree with I don't agree with either of the Johns fully.
Oh, Calvin? Oh, ain't no
Wesley.
way. Actually, let's
You
bring
know
John
what?
Calvin on.
You know what's funny? Calvinists don't agree with John Calvin.
I know. We should bring John Calvin on and be like, dude, what were you thinking? Help
Hey,
me understand your mind.
John, were you actually saying this because Calvinists today say this?
Yeah.
Were you actually saying
Is that
this?
what you really meant?
Okay,
I don't
this
know.
guy,
Okay.
Malcolm Geit.
Who the heck
Have
is
you
that?
followed any of his stuff on?
Malcolm?
I bet if you
David Ladding.
David Ladding.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That guy's legendary. David Ladding. I want him on.
Malcolm Geit. He is
Bryce
this
Crawford.
older gentleman, big white beard, white hair. He sits in his library. He's English. He smokes pipes. He is always talking about C.S.
Smell
Lewis, always talking about Tolkien. He talks about a ton of poetry. He goes through the Psalms.
David
He's
Ladding
like
probably loves
just
him.
an intellectual. I would love for him to be on this podcast. Yeah, I got to check him out.
All right, serious answer. I think David Ladding. That'd be sick. Philip Anthony Mitchell. That'd also be sick.
Dude, that would be fun.
Philip Anthony Mitchell, David Ladding, Bryce Crawford,
Josh Howerton.
Josh Howard. That'd be an assembly right there. Autobots. Roll out.
I know who Bryce Crawford is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fluffy hair, Bryce.
Yeah, he's got that interesting haircut.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Roasted Kenneth Copeland.
Oh, he's here. Here he's with a picture with your boy Forrest Frank.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I didn't even think about Forrest. That'd be sweet too, dude. Let's call him. They'll come on. We'll be like, hey guys, we got at least 70 listeners.
We'll
Come
have
on.
our agent talk to theirs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh.
Yeah. Josh, can you make that happen?
Josh, go ahead and hit those guys up. Appreciate that.
He said no.
He's saying no.
We'll take care of that.
Mm.
Yeah. We'll give you the benevolence fund
You
from
know
the
what?
church.
If
That'll
any-
take care of them.
I bet if anyone could make that happen, I bet Ben Hart could pull some strings. Our construction
Why- he's
pastor.
our construction
Why
pastor,
does Ben Hart like oddly know how to do
You know what?
those
He does
things?
listen. So anybody who listens to this, Ben typically goes to the 9 a.m. So when you see him this Sunday,
Yeah.
call him
He-
CP.
He has young kids and
Construction
he's
pastor.
almost pawpaw age.
Yeah.
So make sure you call him Pops too.
He's only like a few years older than Nate.
Right. But Nate's kids are going into 6th grade. And Ben's kids are not.
Yeah, they're younger.
Ben
I'm
said
trying to stick up for you.
Ben said I
Ben.
got to be here 13 more years to get his kids through student ministry.
I'd agree.
Job security.
It's job security. CP.
Hurry up, Ben.
So call Ben CP,
No, I don't
the
know.
construction pastor
You know
of
how many
Avenue.
people have told me how many times I'm not allowed to leave? Like I literally will talk to someone. They're like, I'm like, I have never even suggested leaving, and someone will be like,
You talk about Chick-fil-A a lot.
"You're not allowed to go."
You do talk about. You know what? You're probably gonna leave us for Chick-fil-A here soon.
And so many people have asked me if I'm going to
Hey,
work
did you
at the new
get
Chick-fil-A.
the? Did you
It's
get
crazy.
the owner to get here?
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know. I
You
will
need to
say,
work your
I will
magic.
say, I hit up the owner and said, "Hey, man, all these people are circulating that the store's going to be drive-through only. I'm trying to tell them that it's not going to be." And he's like, "Thanks for squashing that, man. I don't know why they think that."
Does he have a home church?
Well, not
will
right now.
be.
He's from Georgia and
It'll
he
be
lives in
Avenue.
like West Virginia right now. So
Because Abe is gonna do his magic.
We'll
if he
see,
doesn't
dude.
do it, we're firing him.
well, I'm glad the church hears that. So if your boy just gets excommunicated, his email gets wiped, and my phone number gets hacked, now you know why.
Yeah.
Hey, I did just hear a crazy story. Actually, another pastor in his community was telling me about his dad losing a job at a church and got walked out by the church elders and said he wasn't allowed to return. And they told the church a narrative that was not true. And
That's
they wiped
crazy.
all of his contacts, everything from the directory,
Dang.
everything.
The Baptist.
I don't know. But like they like crazy. And it's like a 900 person church. Like this ain't just some like
That's really remarkable.
little country bumpkin church.
That happened to us too. The guy there was when I was in
Dude.
Findlay, the pastor on the staff I was there for 6 months. They fired him, and he was kind of making a ruckus in the meeting, and they asked him to kindly, it's time for you to go, and he said, "I'm not leaving," and he made it that way. He's like, "Call the cops if you need to call the cops." I'm like, "What?" And they did.
Well, this was crazy. So like they basically, and I know this is like total rabbit trail, but like essentially it was a really hard situation. Like I was talking to this guy and it really hurt. Me and a couple guys were talking. It really hurt our hearts to hear it. But like
Yeah, that's sad.
he literally goes into his office. They close the door, say, "Hey, you're done." And then they walk him to his car and say, "You are not allowed back in here. You're done." Like, and they said, if anyone contacts you, this is what you're going to tell them. And this is what you're going to give them. And you're going to tell them that you felt called to be a senior pastor elsewhere. This guy was an associate
How do they
like,
hold anybody to
pastor. Or basically he's not going to get any severance. So like either he tells them this or he's not going to get any severance.
Yeah, I forget what that's called.
And basically, so like he's like contacting people, like lawyers and stuff like that, to be
That's
like, "Dude, this is what's happening to
crazy.
me" and stuff. It's insane. So like it was wild. It was like making us hurt and kind of frustrated. And just hearing this, it was insane, dude.
And
the
we're going to drop
elders-
the name of that church
No.
right after commercial.
We're not. But like the elders got told a different story by the senior pastor, and the senior pastor basically told the elders that this guy was on board and that this was the case. So the elders thought it was already a mutual agreement. So the elders like approved and were like, "Okay, well, all right, that sounds good." And then they were told a different story.
So the
hard.
senior pastor told him a different story.
Yes, bro. So the senior pastor didn't like this guy and basically said, like, "This is what you're going to tell the church. This is what the elders know. And like potentially had fraudulent documentation of this as well. So it's insane, bro. We're like hearing this. It was crazy. And so anyway, like this guy was serving as like an executive and teaching pastor, and then this happened, and it was wild. So then apparently he called the old executive pastor of this church, and he's like, let me guess. He's like, this is what happened. And he told the church this, and he told you have to tell the church this. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. He's like, I was wondering when it was going to happen. Same thing happened apparently to him. Wild, bro.
That's crazy.
So anyway, I don't know.
How do you if that breaks our hearts, what do you think that does to the heart of the Lord?
Dude, I just don't know. It's insane. Like, I don't even know how I got on talking about that, but like it just came to my mind.
That's a good transition though to what we've been talking about.
It's insane.
Dude, I know it's Daniel 5 and
it's insane.
But that is the pride that infiltrates so many churches, so many church pastors, because they think.
I think there's just like this inferior feeling that was coming, and out of nowhere, just apparently even like not even that much prior, asked him about metrics that he'd made like goals for the year.
Yeah.
And apparently like a month prior to this went in there and was like, hey, like, let's talk through your metrics. Let's see where you're at. And then comes in like a couple weeks later and basically is like, you're not hitting your metrics. We're going to go a different direction. You're done. And then makes this whole story to the elders and all that. And what's crazy is the guy who got canned was like, dude, these are my goals. Like I made these. Like these are just my personal, what I'm trying to work toward goals. And he's like, we're like 4 months into the year. What do you mean I haven't achieved these, you know, and whatnot? It was crazy. So this guy was just telling us, and I'm like, man, it was an insane, but like that is pride. It's like to be okay with treating somebody like that, knowing what kind of lies you got to tell yourself to make that okay in your head.
Not just one lie, but it's keeping the story alive.
I know.
With the lies.
Like, and you're out here like, it's wild. It's wild. But that is, I mean, genuinely, that is what pride does. Like, it is crazy. So anyway, I don't know why. Something just sparked in my head to talk about that. Maybe it was because it relates to this, but I don't know. It just like hit me, and I was just like thinking about it, and
wow.
It's a wild story.
That's crazy.
Heartbreaking.
Okay, so that's the big idea for this past week was when we use what God has given us for our own glory and ignore his warnings, the end is already written. Mm-hmm. God will not be mocked, and no kingdom built on pride will stand. So that is the big idea for Daniel 5. So I hate to say this, unfortunately, but that pastor will be found out eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
and then it's just another black eye in the church community. Like I get no pastor is perfect, and believe me, but that's the whole point. As a pastor, we're supposed to lead by example.
Well, not being perfect is different than
like living in this humility and working to live in humility instead of. But most pastors, it's the opposite side of trying to think that they have it all together, and then, and if something happens or messes up, then. And somebody notices or calls them out, it's like you double down instead of saying, you know, you're right, I shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. But they don't do that. It's always that, like, who are you to tell me? Yeah, you're my staff member. You know, like I just like goodness gracious. I lived under some pastors like that too, and I was like, I do not want to be like you at all. Anyways, that is a crazy story.
Yep.
All right, I didn't read this Sunday. I want to read this next part of Daniel 5:16-24 because it's going to hit with what we're discussing. But it gives you kind of the picture of what I kind of explained to get to the questions or to get to the application on Sunday. But I felt like this would be good to actually read it on here so we could go further. All right, so this is after the writing on the wall takes place, the fingers show up, and then I think it's his mother. I'm forgetting that right now, but I think it's the king's mother or something that says, oh, there's this guy named Daniel. Haven't you heard about Daniel? And actually his name that he was given was Belteshazzar, and so like anyways, and so verse 16 it says, I am told that you can give interpretation. So the king is talking to Daniel now, and interpretations and solve direct problems. If you can read these words and tell me their meaning, you will be clothed in purple robes of royal honor, which is why the end of the, when it talks about he was put on red, purple robes and the gold chain and stuff. So if you can do that, you will have a gold chain placed around your neck. You will become the third highest ruler in the kingdom, right? That's where that comes from. Verse 17, so Daniel answered the king, keep your gifts or give them to someone else, but I will tell you what the writing means. So Daniel obviously knows what's going to happen. Your Majesty, the Most High God gave sovereignty. Most High God gave sovereignty, majesty, glory, and honor to your predecessor Nebuchadnezzar. He made him so great that people of all races and nations and languages trembled before him in fear. He killed those he wanted to kill and spared those he wanted to spare. He honored those he wanted to honor and disgraced those he wanted to disgrace. But when his heart and mind were puffed up with arrogance, a.k.a. this pastor, he was brought down from his royal throne and stripped of his glory. He was driven from human society. He was given the mind of a wild animal, and he lived among the wild donkeys. He ate grass like a cow, and he was drenched with dew of heaven until he learned that the Most High God rules over the kingdoms of the world and appoints anyone he desires to rule over them. So in other words, God is still sovereign over every kingdom on earth, including the United States. Verse 22, you are his successor, O Belshazzar, and you knew all this, yet you have not humbled yourself. So I read that one on Sunday. For you have proudly defied the Lord of heaven and have these cups and have had these cups from his temple, brought before you. You and your nobles and your wives and concubines have been drinking wine from them while praising gods of silver, gold, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, gods that neither see nor hear nor know anything at all. But you have not honored the God who gives you the breath of life and controls your destiny. So God has sent his hand to write this message. All right, so that was the part I didn't read, and I just kind of explained it real fast. But that's the tension is pride says, and I'll just say this because this is what was next. Pride says, I'm in control. I don't need God. This is mine, right? Even though we have in human history example after example after example after example of things that have happened in history, and then we're always arrogant enough to say, well, that'll never happen to us. Or like right now, like I'm not trying to be political at all. I'm just using this as an example. But right now, the Democratic Party of the United States, is leaning heavily to socialism. And so, and now that actually you see people in the left, so in the Democrat Party, who are like they're kind of fighting each other now because they're trying to define what is the Democratic Party. Because you have some Democrats who said, no, we are not going that route. And you have other Democrats saying, you're all crazy. This is the route to go. Now, the problem is we have so much history. I mean, even going back to like Karl Marx and all these things, so much history that shows us that socialism doesn't work. It's very evil. Because what you don't realize with socialism is it always puts like 1, 2, or 3 people ultimately in power that rule over everybody else, and they're all poor. So like socialism is not the answer. We have history after history after history, and here we are again in the United States, a political party or half of the political parties saying, yeah, but we're different. It's going to work for us. And again, this isn't about being political. I'm just saying this as an example. And that I think that's what so many of us do. We struggle when we think through pride and we think about the things in our life is like, well, that may have happened to that person, but that won't happen to me. And the reality is like, why? Why do you think you're different? Why do we as a country think we're different? Why do we as Christians think we're different? Why Why do we think that, well, what happened to them won't absolutely happen to me because I'm different or I'm better or I'm in control? They probably weren't in control. You know, like I think that's the tension here. And we see this with Belshazzar is what's different between you and Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's still a pride issue. And I think that's the tension that so often we all struggle with. Like, and I want to get more intentional with us personally. Like, just normal Americans, normal Christians, you know, Richland County, Ashland County, Ohio people. So let's bring it down to our level. Here's my question: where does your pride? Where does our pride in this area and faith conflict based on this idea? What is it that we struggle with as we read this story and we see what Daniel was doing, but we can connect ourselves a lot to Belshazzar. How do we see pride and our faith colliding with one another? And the next question is are we willing to do something about it? And I think that's the key. Like, for example, let me do my example. It's so hard. But I've noticed that I typically have a judgment towards somebody else or towards something else because I lean one way, but because I'm paying attention to media or social media too much. Instead of understanding that, and I'm going to tie this down, as we talk about this as we go on, but to understand that, man, Jesus gave his life for even the Pharisees. Now, it's okay to disagree with them. You know, it's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to get frustrated with others, but not at the point to say that they are worthless or they're not as good, or that I'm better than them.
Right.
They're arrogant.
Like
I'm
dehumanizing
not. Yeah,
them.
like I'm dehumanizing somebody, and I can do that really easily. And so one of the areas I realize, like where my pride and where my faith conflict is, I should probably get away from social media for good because it's my weakness. Now, that I'm not saying that's true for everybody. I'm not saying that's an overall statement, but I am saying that for Nate Holtz, if I'm going to grow in my faith and be what God has asked me to be, I think that I'm going to have to somehow in some way get myself off of social media, scrolling and reading, and maybe I could post things about our family and things we're doing here and there, but that's all I do, and then just get off it. And so I'm trying to how do I do that? Because at the same time, I'm also, I'm trying to live in that tension. I kind of shared that on Sunday a little bit. The other part of the tension is I also want to be an encouragement in social media. I want to be able to share things and help people. So, but if I'm not careful though, then instead of, I can do that, but then I can start scrolling when I shouldn't do that. And because I struggle with looking at people and devaluing them because of something I don't agree with. That's for me is a struggle that I have with pride and faith.
Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
I think that social media is the downfall of humanity. So
I know you do.
Nick is hilarious, bro.
It's like
social media,
the conspiracy
AI,
theory.
It's like Nick.
I didn't used to be like this. I don't know. I had 2 daughters, and
which
now
I
it's just
so
weird.
appreciated that you threw on there that Minions post.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you what, it was so cool to see that.
I got some not so friendly messages after that.
I bet you did,
dude. We talked about that before the podcast, and then
we were in North Carolina, I think, when you did that, and we were in the car. car, and then Liz goes, "Oh my goodness, Nick just shared about the Minions," and so we read the Minion. She reads your statement about the Minions, and then we're like, "I'm so glad that he said that." And then the next thought was, "I guarantee you, though, he's going to get beat up."
It wasn't that bad.
Okay,
No.
good.
So there were one of the comments, one of the
And
commenters.
we love the Minions. That's what's crazy.
Yeah. Well, see, it's just so it stinks because like our family, you know, we have a subscription to Disney Plus, you know, so say whatever you want to say about Disney.
Yeah.
Whenever you're dealing with organizations or individuals that are filthy rich, you just have to imagine, what are their motives and do they align with my motives?
Yeah.
You know, what are their
Yeah.
theologies? Do they align with my theologies?
Yeah.
And they might not inherently be attacking, but just what they're okay with means in that passivity that there could be evil there. And so it's like, is Disney and Pixar and that studio, are they literally trying to, you know, be demonic? Maybe not. Maybe just somebody had a creative idea, but because their whole life is completely secular, they just laugh it off.
They just think it's a funny story.
But for a Christian, you can't be that passive.
Yeah.
You know?
It kind of reminded me of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
The second one.
What a letdown.
It got weird, bro.
It got
mega weird.
It got evil, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, you got to be on your guard.
Watch that.
But you also have to have boundaries, and so, you know, even if you love something, you can't love it more than the Lord. So it's like, you got to be able to say no. You know, if
I appreciated that.
Well, cool. I appreciate you saying that.
So we're not going to watch Minions because of that.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. As far as
the new movie,
as far as the original question goes, like, you know, where does our pride and our faith collide, I guess being aggressive with one another? For me, one of my many flaws is I tend to have a very comparative nature about myself. You know, used to manifest in people pleasing. Now it's more like the opposite way, which I think is worse. Is I will look at other Christians and I will kind of in my heart compare them to me, thinking that I'm doing something more, thinking that I'm living better, thinking that I have more fruit, thinking, you know, and
the comparison trap is horrible.
It's a horrible trap. And but I secretly do that a lot, and I have to fight that constantly. And it has made me really, really grieve. And even said some things that I wish I wouldn't have said, you know, one of my big things, okay, and this is just, I'm going to be fully transparent because this happened last night, is, you know, we go to our A group, and there are folks that didn't attend our group, you know, and I listened to their reasonings of why they didn't attend the group, and I just don't have compassion for those reasonings.
I know, I've struggled with that too.
And for me personally, and I know not everyone is like this, and I'm not saying that they're in the wrong or throwing them shade. But for me, it would take me and my family, outside of emergency, something very large, to miss an A group, because to me, I want that to be something that's very, very important in our lives and something that we stand for. And when you have folks that just don't come, you know,
it also kind of shows that where you're at in your walk with Christ.
It really, maybe too much bothers me. So I'm working on that.
Yeah.
But it's easy for me to get in the mindset of like, oh, well, this happened to me and I had this sort of a day and I still showed up. And I'm like, that's a bad heart.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And so that definitely is something I'm working on. I'm not very good at. But I'm trying to love through it and have more compassion about.
Absolutely. That's good. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah, man.
What about you? You have anything? Or you're just perfect?
Well, I do have Baptist roots, so I am pretty perfect, but, you know, no.
Oh, that was good.
I'm just saying. Bro, I just realized that how I just sounded right there, if you listen to this in like half speed, it probably sounds so stupid.
Yes, everybody slow the.
It's going to be Seth
go back
Rogen.
and
Back
slow it
10
down to half
seconds,
speed.
slow it down. It's going to be dude.
Pineapple Express, Seth Rogen.
It's going to be awful. No, I don't know. I mean, pride and faith conflict. I think for me, I can puff myself up definitely with knowledge. I can definitely out-intellect a number of people.
Sure.
And I get a little bit on that sometimes, you know, and I don't think I'm always like that, but it depends. Like if it's something that I'm passionate about, or if it's like someone I think is just wiling, like if there's like saying something stupid, you know, or whatever, and I'm just like, that was just stupid. Like, no. Sometimes I can do that. Sometimes that can lead me to, I won't say devalue them, but it will almost lead me to be like, I do not care what you were saying at all.
Yeah.
Like did not, it does not matter to me.
Yeah.
Your opinion.
Mm.
Like, so I think that I like will easily write people off at times, I guess. And so that for me is something that I have to make sure I maintain a respect and like a mutual value.
Yeah.
While disagreeing. Or if I'm like, man, you don't have a leg to stand on
Yeah.
here.
Have you guys ever had like I don't know. Have you ever had some warnings in your life, like some warning bells were going off, and they came over a considerable amount of time, maybe, you know, and maybe it was just within a few weeks, or maybe it was a few months, but you kept kind of having these kind of same warnings. Maybe it's your conscience. You ignored it, and then ever experienced any consequences because you felt it, you knew it, you shouldn't have, or you didn't do something, and then finally it was too late, and then you had to reap the benefits, or I should not say benefits, but the consequences of either A, your actions of not doing something about it, or B, your non-actions, and then that was the result of your non-actions that wasn't positive.
I can't think of a specific moment, but there have been times that I've had a personal conviction that I wrote off for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was for the praise of somebody else, or maybe thought I was over spiritualizing it.
Yeah.
And then it came back and just hit me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I would have just listened to the Spirit instead of,
Yep.
you know, the influence of somebody else. Like, I know that that's happened
Yeah.
multiple times. I can't think of a scenario to share.
Sure.
but
I
for
was just curious if you had that. Did you have anything like that? Any warnings? I don't know. It could be from people like, hey, you need to be careful. This is going to happen if you don't, blah, 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 blah. Or, I don't know.
I think definitely over the years, for sure, some things that I've dealt with. One has been, I think being like conceited or not a good listener, like not being slow to speak, but
sure.
like being super fast to speak and not listen a lot.
Yeah.
So I think over the years, I've definitely there have been times where I've received that like very consecutively.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what's going on? Like, someone telling you like, hey man, you need to listen more, or you do a lot of talking, but you need to do more listening.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you could learn something from them if you just slow down.
Yeah.
And like things like that. And so I'd say definitely. And there's been moments where I've heeded it, and there has been moments where I haven't. And
Yeah.
I think that some of the consecutive moments, like I know leading up to kind of within this, as I remember like a super pivotal thing in my life where like leading up to as a 16-year-old, my youth pastor, we were super evangelistic, and I did a lot of talking and thought I was sweet, and like I was judgmental towards people that weren't church people.
Yeah.
And I would look down on them, and I would mistreat them because of it, and I would just think of myself as better than them. And that would lead me to, not listen or talk or just think I was the person who should be, I guess, guiding, or the one who is reliable.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that leading up to this, my youth pastor literally, he just pulled me aside, and like, our students might think I'm rough with them sometimes. This guy, I think he almost socked me in the mouth. Like, and he told me, he's like, you actually think you are sweet. You think you deserve God's grace more than these guys. And he's like, I'm just going to be here to tell you that you don't. You deserve it just as you don't deserve it just as much as them, if not more. And he's like, so I just want to let you know you're not sweet, and you need to figure out like how you should be looking at them, because you're not any better than them.
Yeah.
And it was really hard in the moment hearing that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think also me not listening up until that point hit me with that point of like, I got hit in the face with this, you know, and I had a decision to make. And because he basically was like, you either confront this and get it together, or your involvement with this is going to be very minimal.
Yep.
Like it was like you got to decide, you know, where are you going to be?
Yep.
And then another one for me, I mean, just be straight up, like it was sexual sin. I mean, it was a big one for me. And like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know about it. But if you don't care, you don't actually care about it that much, or like you just kind of like, yeah, I know it's not good, but and it was one of those, like for a long time I kind of lived in that, like the kind of repetitive cycle. And I know it's not good. I know what God says about it. I know that it's destroying my flesh. I know it's destroying my body. I know it's defiling my body and like whatever, but and kept running that play for a number of years. And
you just keep asking for forgiveness.
Yeah, it got to a point where I finally told my now wife, and she was devastated.
Yeah.
And I realized how much it was detrimental to our relationship.
Yep.
And I didn't heed warning on the way there, from God's word even, you know, just straight from his word. And it got to a point where, I mean, she literally was like, if you don't get this together, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, you can kiss me goodbye. I'm not marrying you. And because she took it as cheating. I mean, she was like, this is the same as if you were going and doing stuff with other girls.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not cool. And you need to know how hurtful that is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until that moment where I was like, oh, wow, I do see how damaging this is and how serious this is and how like genuinely hurtful this is and how much it actually affects more than I think, because it seems like in the moments that it doesn't really hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But then I realized, oh, wow, this really hurts.
It does, especially if you're trying to live out your faith and be open and honest.
Yeah.
And
This really hurts
keep sin in
people.
the light, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really bad, and it took me quite a while to get there. And then what's even worse is I didn't heed that warning from her either, and then fell into it again. And then I told her after we'd gotten married that I had done it again. And she was like, dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you already know what I said last time.
Yeah.
That was really hard to muster up the courage to tell her. And it was literally on our honeymoon drive.
Yeah, I remember
We'd
that.
gotten married, and I just, like, the Lord was just pressing. He's like, you're not going to enter this marriage in a lie, dude. You got to be honest. And I just was like, God, I cannot tell her. Like, we are on a honeymoon. We're supposed to be vibing. And it was not vibing. And I was just driving. We were in New York. I was just driving. I said, sorry, I got to tell you something. I'm like, and I know you're going to hate me, and I'm so sorry, you know? And who knows if she knew the writing was on the wall or not. But, you know, I told her, and she was really hurt. And it took us the whole drive basically to work through it and, you know, and do all that. And it was just tough. I don't know. I just say my word of advice is, I should have heeded that warning a long time before that, because I felt the repercussions of it. Yeah. And it was hard, and it's still hard. It still affects our relationship, like to this day. And like, and still stuff that we have to work through.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just say,
years,
man, like, God can restore and he can renew and yes, but it still have to deal with the consequence.
There is still a consequence
of the
sin,
choices that you make.
That's right.
So
that's really,
I just say,
thank you, dude, for sharing. That's really good.
Those are just a couple things that have like really like have stuck out to me. It's my mouth and my heart.
Yeah. There is I think he labels himself as a comedian, but he's got a bunch of really, really good stuff that's not comedy.
Yeah.
His name is Marcus Wiley. I don't know if you guys have ever found him on social media or whatever. He is, his father's a pastor, his grandfather's a pastor, and he jokingly says that he's not a pastor, and he broke the generational curse. but wow! But he has a bunch of stuff on marriage, and one of the things that actually I was listening to yesterday, and your story really kind of captures the essence of what he was trying to get across. Is like when you make these marriage vows, you have for rich or for poor, you have till death do us part, you have in sickness and in health. Right. Well, in sickness and in health is one of the only vows that you have a negative and then a positive. And so his theory is like, well, when you're single, when you first get married, what if, when you get married, you're actually sick, and it takes the course of your marriage, mistake after mistake after mistake, coming to each other in truth and asking for forgiveness. What if that is how you get to health? What if that's how you get to a healthy part of marriage? So I think what you were doing is exactly an example
That's
that
what
young
it
men
is.
all over the place should be doing.
Yeah.
Being honest, saying and confessing. I think we need to do better at confessing sin in general.
Yeah.
And then asking for forgiveness. And then it's on her, and I applaud her for forgiving.
Yeah.
And
because had a right to call it there. I mean, truthfully. I mean, I would say biblically, you got a right to roll. I mean, you don't have to stay there.
Yeah. Because Jesus refers to adultery as the heart as well.
Yeah, it's like,
so just look at a woman and lust at her.
I mean, it's one of those things.
It's true for women as well.
It's both sides. Yeah.
And that's why I even said that on Sunday. I was trying to make sure I got the right one because I couldn't remember if it's 32:23. But that's how I always remember the sin part. Numbers 32:23. You can, 32, switch it to 23. So that's how you can remember. 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3. Right. So and then numbers. It's the Old Testament. But anyways, I always remember just the phrase, be sure your sin will find you out. But it actually says, but if you fail to keep your word, then you will have sinned against the Lord, and you may be sure that your sin will find you out. So even if you keep sin in the darkness for 30 years, it's still going to come back up and bite you. And so, don't keep sin in the dark. Therefore, if you don't want to deal with the sin that is going to hurt when you deal with it, don't do it. And again, you're like, well, I just can't not do it. Well, it's because you're not looking at Jesus. Again, you're just looking at the thing you don't want to do instead of saying, I'm going to stop looking at the thing I don't want to do. I'm going to start looking at him again. Yeah. Right. I mean, that's the whole point of Galatians 6:7. Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant. So the question is what are you planting? If you're planting a desirable relationship with Jesus, that's why the challenge this week was, I just want you to spend 10 minutes a day with him. I don't want you to say, oh man, I've been struggling with this. No, that's not spending time with him. Just saying, Lord, thank you so much for your word. I want you to know this week, I was reading this, and Lord, I just pray that you are overwhelming me with your love and compassion. Lord, how can I do that for you this week? How can I make, you're just spending time with him. And in that process, you start to realize eventually that the more you do that, the less the sins you desire and more of the relationship, and that relationship continues to grow. Yeah. So again, you will always harvest what you plant. So whatever you spend your time doing or giving to or pouring into, you're going to get that out. I always think it's funny. I think you did this, or I used to do this all the time with students. And we would do it every year. I would never tell them when I'm going to do it. It would be like a different series because I basically taught the same thing every year and repackaged it as different series and messages and things like that. And every year I would always do some kind of song, and it was always so much fun for me because I just would always rip them because they think they know more than you, right? And so we would do some kind of thing, and then I'd put on a song, and it would never have the words on it, but kids and students they would just start singing along to it. And I was like, "Do you guys know what that says?" And then I would put the lyrics up, and they're like, "Oh my goodness." Well, we just liked it for the beat. It doesn't matter. You're listening to it, and it's going into your heart. So whatever you spend time watching and listening and the people you spend around, it is going to come out because it's what you have, it's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, again, whatever you plant, you will harvest. The question is, what do you want to harvest?
Yeah, we're telling our students that this Sunday night, one of our insights from our primary scripture is that your focus shapes your future.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
that's like the exact thing we're talking about as we're in Philippians. And it's interesting is like everything that we're consuming, everything that we take in,
Yeah.
when we fill our mind with that, well, that's what you take on.
Yeah.
What you take in, you take on.
Yep.
That's just reality. And so it's interesting. Scripture doesn't tell us only to just, and what's interesting is not just not think about those things, but to fill those things with what is good, right, true, worthwhile.
Yeah.
And then to put those things into practice.
Yeah.
So how do you keep these things from keep on being these things in your life? Well, stop consuming these things, fill them with other things, and then start doing something with it.
That's right.
And that's really the way. I mean, that's really the way to do it. Is just get out of there. I mean, there's times where some thought comes into my head, and I have like go-to things that I'm
Take
gonna
every thought captive.
Yeah, there's like go-to things where I'm going to be like, you know what? No, I'm going to think about this.
Yeah.
And then I just have to make a decision.
Yeah.
You just have to make a decision.
And I think it's the pride. And again, I believe wholeheartedly pride is the reason we fail and struggle with so many sins and things in our lives.
True.
Right? Because we're not willing to admit that we have a problem.
The whole point of following Jesus is you admit you're cooked.
Yeah. I think we want to think that we got our life together. So this is the problem with Christianity in our culture is I'm not saying that we go to church and say, oh man, this week was just bad. You don't have to just air your dirty laundry, but you should have somebody, you should at least be honest enough to say, you know what? God is good. He keeps helping me and he's working with me, things like that. But you have one or two people in your life that are just like, man, there's my go-to guys. And I can tell them this is my struggle and they're praying for me and they're challenging me and they're pushing me, whatever it is,
Right.
The females in our lives, because when we don't have that in our lives, it's easier to live in the dark than it is the light. And the light exposes us. That's what John tells us about in the gospel. And so, and pride keeps us from wanting to be exposed. I get it. Nobody wants to be like, man, I stink. My life is miserable. I'm a bad person. Nobody wants to do that. I totally get that. But the problem is that we're so focused on our pride, we forget what the point of it is to be humble. Because if we're humble, we actually realize it gets easier. And then you don't have to walk around saying like, my life is miserable, because it won't be. Because you're saying, man, 5 years ago, I couldn't figure this out. I was a horrible husband, a bad father, not a good coworker. I love Jesus, but I would always find myself doing this or doing that and doing this and doing that. And just blah, 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 blah. But pride kept you there. You weren't willing to deal with your sin. You weren't willing to be honest with yourself and deal with it. But if you were humble, so let me ask you a question to kind of finish this day, because again, this was Belshazzar's struggle. What does it mean to be humble? What does it mean to live a life of humility? Because in living that life of humility, we can actually go around and be like, man, life is joyful. Life is wonderful. And it's not always going to be, it's not going to please don't hear me say, you're going to have a care, you're going to have a, health, wealth, and prosperity. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, Joel's team, baby.
Yeah. I'm saying that you will learn how to live life with less, enjoy more, be more of what God has asked you to be, do more for others. So how do we live that kind of life? Living a humble life instead of prideful life.
Yeah. Something that I tell myself often is I'm not that important.
Yeah.
Literally. And that goes against all the self-help books and
It
all
does.
you are the center of your universe and you deserve happiness stuff. But I mean, I'm not digging so deep in it that I think that I'm a worm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing Grace saved a filthy wretch like me. So,
Yeah.
I am just, maybe you need to tell yourself that. You, Abe, you, Nate, you, Josh, you, listener, you are not that important.
Mm-hmm.
there is somebody who's vastly more important.
Yeah.
You're a worm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You're a
reminded.
varmint.
I'm reminded all the time that there's always somebody else out there that can do my job better than I can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It is true. Yeah. I mean, that's a humbling thing too. Oh, well, and also, yeah, your identity, you know, like this is hilarious. People will say something to me. And like, this is kind of a funny thing in our group, our small group. I am like always like nicknames, right? Like YPAC and like youth pastor Abe Cunningham. And like, and if like someone does something in front of me, they'll be like, that's a double sin. Our youth pastor's right here or whatever and whatnot. And like, they'll say funny stuff like that. But sometimes they'll say something like, well, you're the youth pastor or whatever. I'm like, dude, that's not who I am. I'm like, dude, I follow Jesus, man, just like you. Now I was like, yeah, okay, true. I do that. I was like, but dude, that's not, my identity is not in that.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I do serve the church in that way, but dude, that is not my identity. If I stopped being a youth pastor tomorrow, I'm not broken. I love it, and I hope that doesn't end. But if I stop tomorrow, I don't stop being a follower of Jesus. Like,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and there's other people who are fully capable
Yeah.
of doing that and handling that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's okay. It's not popular in our culture because we want to create a center of the universe mentality.
Like I'm very much needed.
Right. Like if I'm not here, the whole place is going to burn
Gonna
down.
fall
and,
over. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that's not good.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think we struggle with doing that at times because we want to have value
Mm-hmm.
and it helps create value.
Yeah.
And so I do think, yeah, like you're not the center of the universe. And I even tell our students that sometimes, you know, like they'll act like they're a victim for something or they'll get super butthurt about something. And I'm like, hey, I just need to remind you,
Yeah.
you're not the only one here. You are not the center of the universe.
You know what I love about statistics? You know, because we're in 2026, you know, so we're like, we seem to get better and better and better at research and statistics and all that stuff. And now because of the internet and everything, like it's going to be there forever. And I love this came out a number of years ago. But for the most part, most people who have ever lived will be forgotten by the second generation after you, potentially the latest, the third. So it would be your great grandchildren. After that, you're pretty much Nate. Who?
Yeah, you, your accomplishments,
Everything.
your possessions, your friends.
Well, because even if somebody says, well, you're great granddaddy, and you're like, who the heck's that?
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, I think there's this weird balance with God is that we're so radically loved and valued by God.
Yep.
But also that reality, like he thinks we're worth pursuing.
That's
and
right.
thinks that we're worth giving everything for.
Yep.
Which is
The
incredible.
prodigal story.
It's incredible.
The Son of God.
However, he's the only one worthy of praise.
That's right.
So we have to keep in mind that he radically loves us and he radically does these things, but it's not because of our inherent value that we offer him.
Yeah.
It's because of our inherent value that he's given us.
Yeah.
I think that matters because we don't have inherent value because of we're awesome.
Yep.
We have inherent value because he
think
has
of
given us
the
inherent
disciples
value.
or the people in the New Testament alone. Most of the people in there, most of the disciples, we think of them for two things. Number one, they messed up all the time. They were normal, ordinary people that Jesus said, "Hey, follow me." They did, but you kept seeing mess up after mess up after mess up after mess up. Hey, there's even this one moment when Jesus says, "How long do I have to be with you guys?"
Yeah, how much longer do I have to do
crazy.
this?
Yeah, and then when they got it right, it was only because the Holy Spirit was in them and working through them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like in the story of the people in
Yes.
Scripture, it was the ones who said yes to Jesus were still messing up literally all the time, and then when they weren't messing up, it was because the Holy Spirit was living in them and through them. So everything was still about what God was doing.
Well, and Paul literally even goes on a whole thing in 2 Corinthians about how like this is my apostolic authority. This is who I am. Like I have the right to do this and say this. He's like, but even there's this thing that the Lord will not take away from me because in my weakness, I will boast in him.
Yeah, that's right.
There's like this like And now again, in quote unquote in a world standards, Paul was like genuinely, if you want to be genuinely honest, like Paul for a human was, if we're looking at it levels to this thing, he was pretty up there.
Yeah, he was.
Right. So to hear him say that, he's not counting all those things as things that make him worth something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he knows and has a perspective there that says the only thing that makes me worth anything is the thing that Jesus is offering to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that makes me worth anything.
Yeah.
That's the thing that makes me worthwhile. And it's like, how great is it? How great is that that's the case? So it is this weird balance of like humility. Isn't that Jesus gave his life because I'm sweet?
Yeah.
Jesus gave his life because he's sweet.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to say there's a difference too. There's a difference between being proud and being prideful.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of being proud is like, I'm proud of my kids when they, you know, all the time. Like,
I'm proud of accomplishments.
I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, did you give your best? Great. I'm proud of you for that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. I'm proud to be an American, you know, in the sense as a countryman, right? Like, you know, if I was Canadian, I mean, that'd be a little crazy, but I'd still be proud to be a Canadian, you know, like, because that's what God has asked me to do. But it's third in line, you know. You know, it's Christ and the kingdom first, family second, then that. So like, but there's nothing wrong with having that kind of pride. It's the pride of saying I'm better than, or I don't need, or I don't have, in the sense of like I don't have that. I have mistakes. I don't sin. Okay, that pride. Sure. No, that's deadly and sinful.
There's also, too, when you look at humility itself, you can weaponize humility.
Yeah.
The Pharisees did that.
Yeah.
When they would fast, they would dress raggedy and they'd make their faces look all sunken in. They'd be like, oh, wow, he's going through so much. Look at him. He's putting himself through so much pain because he's so spiritual, right?
Yeah.
So you can be on the wrong end of humility and actually weaponize it. And that's not the
Still
point.
Be prideful, though.
Yeah,
but
in a way.
But you're making sense, though.
False humility.
It's such a
false
juxtaposition.
Humility.
Yeah. There was a thought that I had too, you know, when you had talked about how, as you know, we're talking about, you know, practicing humility, you know, believing that you're not the center of your universe, that you're not that important. You had said something that triggered a thought in my mind I hadn't thought about. But when you said like somebody else can do your job better than you.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take that one step further. There's a man in this world who can be a better husband than you can be.
Oh, absolutely.
There is a father in this world who can be a better father than you.
Yeah.
There is a son in this world who can be a better son than you to your parents. Like,
100%.
And so don't let that get you down and keep you in this rut of depression, but rather let that motivate you to be better, not for the sake of shouting from the mountains how much better you are, but for the sake of just being exactly who God has asked you to be.
You're doing it because what's the motivating factor? It's what Jesus taught us, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And again, that word love is the word agape. You know, it's the unconditional, so that there is no conditions. Like, I'm not loving God because I want to get something out of him.
Right.
I'm loving God because of what he did for me. And then the second is like it. I love my neighbor as myself. So I'm loving people, or should be loving people, including my enemy or enemies, because of what Christ has done for all of us and what he's done for me. And therefore, that's the motivation. So I'm not doing it to get something out of it. So therefore, I shouldn't be loving my wife so I can get her to be a better wife. I'm loving my wife because I'm called to sacrifice my life for her, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if she doesn't do it back for me, it doesn't matter. I'm doing it because that's what God has asked me to do. I am to love my church and the people that I serve, just because God has called me for such a time as this to love the brothers and sisters that I get the opportunity to serve, or the community I live in, or the school I go to, or the neighbor I live by. I don't love them because I'm trying to get something out of them, which is what a lot of friends do. I love them because God died for them, and I'm to give my life as well,
Imagine
and
we all
expect nothing in return.
imagine we all live like that. Like,
Man, that's true humility.
man, even if these people were trash to me,
yeah,
I'm still gonna do what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I still got a job to do.
Yeah.
And not be like, well, they did this. It's like,
Yeah.
I didn't ask you about that.
Yep.
You still got a job to do.
and again, don't confuse love with how do I say, like agreement or
Approval.
Yeah, approval, tolerance, validation. Like, no. Like, I still live by biblical principles. However, I'm going to love you in such a way that says, I don't agree with you for whatever reason, but I'm still going to serve you. I'm still going to help you see the gospel, even if you take my life. Like, that's the ultimate. And I'm not expecting most people to be there, because that comes out of a desire of being in the presence of God every day, all day. Not just always
We're like
behind a
spiritual
closet. but just-
Batmans.
yeah.
I'm not going to take their life.
Yeah.
He deserves it. I'm not going to take his life.
Apparently, there are some comics where they've totally changed Batman's
Well,
morality, and so he does.
That's their problem. I'm just saying, idealistic Batman. That's what I'm referencing.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
But anyways, I think that chapter 5, we can learn.
Adam West Batman. Sorry.
I do like Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
I love the cheesiness
He just
of
passed
it.
away.
He did.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow, we really ended this on that note.
But anyways, the whole story of Belshazzar is a reminder again. And unfortunately, Belshazzar had to learn the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
However,
the hard way.
I think God has the story and the scripture to help us to say, don't be like him.
There you go.
I gave him warnings.
Don't be that guy.
I was super patient with him. I was not passive. I kept ringing the warning bells, the alarm going off, and he did not pay attention. And that's why Daniel told him, dude, you had all, it's like the story, Abraham's bosom, right? The rich man and Lazarus. And the rich man goes to hell and says, can't I at least go back and warn my brothers?
Mm.
And Jesus basically says to him, they have the writings of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
They have all they need. And if they choose not to follow me or trust me, that's on them. They have the writings of Moses, just like you had the writings of Moses,
Right.
and you chose not to pay attention or accept the warning bells. It's all there, dog. And so, and I think that's the key that we can learn from the story of Belshazzar. It's right there. We got the warnings. The question is, are we willing to listen to the warnings and live in humility? That's going to take forgiveness and repentance and a desire to seek his face. Gosh, I love that in Jeremiah. If they would just seek my face, I will come to them and heal their lands, and then like a whole 70-year thing. And again, that was a promise for the nation of Israel, but the principle is beautiful. If we would just seek his face every day, we would find that humility is not far away, and that pride would start to go away. And so, anyways,
There it is.
but yeah, so this coming week is Daniel 6. And then what I want to challenge everybody to do is, if you're listening this far, and maybe we'll try to do it moving forward, is that you're going to have to read a few chapters in the next 2 weeks after that. So 7 and 8, because we're going to get to 9. So you can read 7, 8, and 9 after chapter 6. And then 10, 11, and 12. And you're going to see that it has a lot to do with eschatology, about like the study of the end times, which I think is really beautiful. And so so we have that, chapter 6 this week, chapter 9 the following week, and then we're going to end it at the end of July on chapter 12. 6, 9, and 12, but read the chapters in between.
Good.
And so that's it. If you're in
Boom.
Ashland, we're in another series called In Transit that Woody and Mark are doing. And the whole point is the prepping the church for the next season of Ashland Avenue. And we'll go from there. So we're excited about the future of Ashland and what can happen there.
And if you weren't aware, Ashland sermons are available on our YouTube.
Yes.
So you can catch up with them even if you're in Ontario or campus or
Yep.
congregate that
You
you're
just
like,
wanna watch.
I want to know what's going on in
Yeah.
Ashland. Since they are doing something different,
Yep.
it's a great way to stay up to date with what's going on at all of our campuses.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, we want to thank you all for tuning into today's episode. As always, sharing this with some folks this week is one of the best ways that you can support this podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and our Avenue Church app. Commenting, liking, sharing this helps us get this out to more and more folks so that we can disciple one person at a time. So we hope that you have a blessed week, and thank you for going beyond the row.